2024 guys are going to break out. We've already had 2 2024 signees, and Jayden Jackson and Eli Bowen have their breakouts last year. Who's going to follow their footsteps this year for Oklahoma from the 2024 recruiting class? We'll discuss coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. If you've got a topic that you'd like to hear us discuss here on Locked On Sooners, make sure you drop it in the YouTube comments. We love to take your suggestions, at least the constructive ones, and roll with those here on the show. We're getting closer to fall camp actually getting underway. July 30 is the date that Oklahoma will begin their preparations for the 2025 college football season in earnest as they wait Illinois State. So, Jay, 2024 recruiting class was the smallest recruiting class of the Brent Venables era. No, scratch that. That was 2025. The 2024 class was still a big one. A top big 10 class for Oklahoma. Brought in David Stone, brought in Jayden Jackson, Eli Bowen. Jackson and Bowen were the breakout stars as true freshmen. As sophomores or second-year players for the Sooners, who are you looking at as a potential breakout player for this year?
I need to go ahead and get that 5-star going. Give me some David Stone action. We kind of need him to go ahead and be that guy. And this is, to me, the year for him to do it. Like, you saw a lot of Taylor Tatum. You saw Xavier Robinson. You saw Zion Kearney, right? You got to see Reggie Powers, Jaden Hardy. You got to see that trio of players from in the secondary that we brought in which those 3 are going to dominate all 3 together once they all are playing at the same time, which I'm thinking a half of this season and all of 2026 is literally their year. 2026 is their year, period, for that trio. But to me, it's David Stone. Give me David Stone. I think that this is now the time for him to show everybody why he was a 5-star plus, especially with the fiasco of him hitting the portal and coming right back out. He needs to go out there and prove himself, not for us really, but for himself. Just show everybody that he has that ability to be a force to be reckoned with. And I think this is the time when he's going to do it.
Well, we saw last year that they played 4 defensive tackles over 300 snaps in Dejon Terry, Grayson Halton, Jayden Jackson, and Dominic Williams. Dejon Terry's gone. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for David Stone this year. And by all accounts, he had a really nice spring. So the time is now for David Stone. He's going to have a great opportunity behind Grayson Halton as that, second 3 technique in the defensive tackle rotation. And when Oklahoma goes into pass rushing situations, it wouldn't surprise me to see David Stone and Grayson Halton playing next to one another to provide a lot of juice up the middle, a lot of size, strength, and speed up the middle with those 2 guys. And dude, now is the time. David Stone's going to have an opportunity, and I expect him to have a good year. What does a good year look like? 2-3 sacks, handful, half a dozen tackles for loss, something like that. Just being productive and doing your job. Really, it comes down to that, because if the defensive tackles are doing their job, that makes the rest of it work so much better. It allows the linebackers to roam free. It allows the edges to not have to take on as many double teams. But if he's productive, they're going to be really good. For me, you mentioned him, Zion Kearney. He played a lot of snaps for Oklahoma last year. I wouldn't say he broke out. He got opportunities. There just weren't a lot of balls being thrown last year because there was no consistency in the passing game, no trust really in the passing game, and for good reason. You couldn't trust the offensive line to block. You couldn't trust the quarterback to make the right decision or even throw the ball if the wide receiver was open. So I'm not going to sit there and say last year was a breakout for anybody at wide receiver, but I will say I do think he's got the talent to be a frontline wide receiver at the collegiate level. He's got athleticism. He's got good route running. He's got good size. He's got good strength. He's able to win down the field. He can win in the short areas, the intermediate part of the field too. He's good after the catch. This is a guy that, again, a 4-star prospect coming out of high school. He's got the tools. We just need a competent passing game for any of these wide receivers to actually shine, but in particular for Zion Kearney to have actually legitimate opportunities to go make plays.
John, I wonder, how many snaps do you think Michael Hawkins Jr. is going to get this season?
Oh, man, that's a great question. I think he'll get some. We'll see him against Illinois State. We'll probably see him against Kent State. We'll probably see him against
Temple.
And then beyond that, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not going to force the issue with Michael Hawkins Jr., but I definitely want him to get some experience.
Are you leaning in on him going the red shirt this season?
If you can, do it. I don't know if Oklahoma's going to be in enough games where it's going to be an issue. Does that make sense?
Right.
Like, they're not going to be in a lot of blowouts one way or the other. Unless you just feel like, hey, I'm Ben Arbuckle and I want to get this guy as many snaps as possible. I'm going to have a Kyler Murray package for him just to, threaten and stress defenses. We'll see. But I wouldn't hate seeing him on the field either.
No, same. And I still believe that John Mateer is going to be a net positive for Michael Hawkins as far as experience and someone to kind of like shadow and be able to really refine his game behind, because we know that John Mateer has done it. He's a running quarterback, probably a lot more than Michael Hawkins, to be absolutely honest. But he's a runner. That's what he does. He runs. He'll tuck and run, had design runs, plus he throws the ball. Has those weird sidearm passes that everybody loves. Jordan Rodgers was really raving about it from ESPN when we talked to him. So that was a very fascinating conversation there. But I think that Michael Hawkins, coming from the same class, should benefit a lot from having John Mateer leading the way to a way that he can get ready to take over for himself. So he's one that I'm watching for. But the thing is, for me, I do see them preserving his red shirt. I don't see him playing more than 4 games.
I think the best thing for Michael Hawkins in all of this is when he does get back on the field the next time, the offense is going to be much more competent around him.
And it'll be his. Yeah.
And Ben Arbuckle is going to be a guy that tries to tailor the offense to fit his quarterback and not the other way around.
Right.
So you're going to see Michael Hawkins thrive in the ways that we saw him thrive when he did play well, whether it's in the second half against Tennessee or whether it's against Auburn. Ben Arbuckle will try to use his speed to his advantage. So I think, I'm excited for Michael Hawkins to get an opportunity to sit, because what happened last year, the way he got thrown into the fire, and the way that everything transpired against South Carolina, yes, turnovers suck, but dude, I don't even think he made any bad decisions, really. They just couldn't block anybody. And if anything, that ball to JJ Hester just floated a little bit and allowed that cornerback to come underneath. But come on, at least he tried to throw the ball. He threw it.
That's the only thing we both cared about, John. Yes. We both cared about that only thing. It's get the ball at your hands and chunk it. And Michael Hawkins would do that. And so he showed you his running ability against Auburn. That first run, he runs it for a touchdown, and everybody's like, oh, shoot, this might be it. Yeah. Oklahoma may have figured it out with this kid. But now you need to put an offense in front of him that's, like I said, it's going to be competent and it's going to be something that's going to work. And this, to me, is now that scenario. I think Ben Arbuckle is going to place him in a scenario where he's going to be successful. Mm-hmm. And that's where John Mateer also comes in, because he'll be that mentor of, this is what Cam Ward did for me. I'm going to pass this same thing down to you. So I think it works out better to me for Michael Hawkins. He should get some good snaps, but I do like the Zion Kearney one. You're going to hear me continuously gas him up until, he shows me that I shouldn't gas him up. But I expect him. I've been watching some of his offseason tape, just like you. The kid has been grinding. He should be ready as well.
We've got some recruiting updates coming up next here on Locked On Sooners. What's going on with Jake Kreul? Jake Kreul. My apologies.
Jake, not Drake.
I think the Kreul blended with the J. Anyway, but Jake Kreul, the 5-star on ESPN. We'll discuss coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.